Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why we work so much? Not just in the sense of paying the bills, but really, why does our entire life seem chained to the rhythm of labor? From the alarm clock that drags us out of bed before the sun rises, to the endless cycle of meetings, deadlines, and emails, it feels as if work has become not just what we do, but who we are. Yet, strangely, the more our technology advances and promises to save time, the less free time we actually seem to have. Machines that were meant to liberate us have instead locked us into a new kind of invisible cage. Karl Marx, writing more than a century and a half ago, already saw the heart of this paradox. He lived in the age of smokestacks, grimy factories, and 16-hour shifts when men, women, and even children worked themselves to the bone just to survive. But Marx wasn't just describing misery. He was diagnosing a system, capitalism, that turns human beings into cogs in an endless machine of profit. He believed work had been stripped of its soul. Instead of labor being an expression of creativity, skill, and joy, it became alienating, work for survival rather than work for life. Alienation for Marx was not just economic, it was existential. Imagine painting a canvas, crafting a piece of furniture, or cooking a meal. You pour yourself into it, and in the end it reflects your effort, your creativity, your unique touch. Now imagine tightening the same bolt on a factory line thousands of times a day. The work no longer belongs to you. You're alienated from the product, alienated from the process, and eventually even alienated from yourself. Marx called this the tragedy of labor under capitalism. Human beings creating wealth, yet unable to see themselves in the things they create. Fast forward to today, and the factory has been replaced by glowing screens and open-plan offices, but the alienation remains. We produce presentations, reports, data, work that often feels abstract, detached, without tangible meaning. People speak of burnout as if it were a flu, but burnout is just a modern name for the same exhaustion Marx saw in the 19th century. We are tired not only because of long hours, but because our work feels like it consumes us without ever truly nourishing us. Think of how our society glorifies overwork. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. The hustle culture tells us that sleeping less, grinding more, and always being available are the keys to success. Rise and grind, they say, as if we are gears in a machine. It's no coincidence that in Silicon Valley the word disrupt is hailed as revolutionary, when in fact it often just means squeezing more labor from fewer people with shinier tools. Marx would not have been surprised. He predicted that capitalism would not only exploit labor, but also mask that exploitation by convincing us it is noble, even virtuous. There is an old proverb, man is the only animal that must work. But the truth is, work once meant something very different. In many traditional societies, labor was woven into the rhythm of nature. Planting, harvesting, crafting, work was necessary, yes, but it was also communal, cyclical, meaningful. There was rest after toil and festivals to break the monotony. Compare that with the 24/7 economy today, where time zones collapse, emails arrive at midnight, and weekends blur into weekdays. Work has expanded to fill every corner of life, as if the office followed us home, into our bedrooms, into our very dreams. Max Weber, the German sociologist, offered another layer to this story. He wrote about what he called the Protestant work ethic, the idea that hard work, discipline, and frugality were moral virtues. In a world shaped by this ethic, being busy isn't just about money, it's about proving your worth, even your salvation. That spirit lingered long after religion lost its grip. Today, whether we call it ambition, productivity, or grinding, the same idea haunts us, that our value as human beings is tied to how much we produce. But here's the irony. For all this work, for all the hours we sacrifice, do we feel freer? Do we feel more alive? Bertrand Russell, in his essay In Praise of Idleness, imagined a world where technology freed us to work just 4 hours a day, leaving the rest of the time for leisure, art, love, and play. Yet the opposite has happened. Instead of technology giving us freedom, it has given us new chains. The smartphone is both tool and shackle. We carry our office in our pocket, answer emails in bed, and live in a state of constant low-grade stress. Why do we allow it? Perhaps because work has become our identity. When you meet someone new, the first question is almost always, "So what do you do?" As if your job title were the sum total of your existence. To be unemployed is not only an economic burden but often treated as a moral failing. Work is no longer just something we do, it is who we are. Marx warned of this, that in a society obsessed with productivity, people would confuse their worth with their output. This confusion creates strange paradoxes. We work harder to buy things that we are too exhausted to enjoy. We upgrade our gadgets to save time, only to fill that saved time with more work. The wheel keeps spinning, and like mice in a cage, we run without ever arriving. It's as if the entire system is designed not to liberate us but to keep us running. The French philosopher Albert Camus once wrote about the myth of Sisyphus, condemned by the gods to push a boulder up a hill only to see it roll down again. Day after day, eternally repeating the same meaningless labor. Camus saw in Sisyphus a metaphor for the human condition, but doesn't it also sound eerily like our modern work life? The inbox that refills each morning, the meetings that solve nothing, the reports that vanish into digital drawers. Camus urged us to rebel by finding meaning even in the absurd. But Marx would have asked, why accept the absurdity at all? Why not change the very conditions that make work meaningless? Here is where Marx's critique becomes more urgent than ever. He argued that capitalism doesn't just exploit, it colonizes our imagination. It convinces us that this is just how the world works, that without endless growth and competition, society would collapse. Yet step back for a moment. Is endless growth even sustainable on a finite planet? Are we not seeing cracks already? Ecological crises, mental health epidemics, widespread dissatisfaction despite material abundance. The machine is groaning under its own weight, and still we push forward afraid to stop. And yet there are cracks of hope. Around the world, conversations about shorter work weeks are gaining momentum. Experiments with 4-day work schedules show people are not only happier but also more productive. Some are beginning to question whether productivity should be the ultimate measure of life. After all, no one on their deathbed wishes they had sent more emails. What we long for are connections, experiences, love, the things work often steals from us. It is said that time is money, but really time is life. And every hour we sell is an hour of life we cannot buy back. Marx's warning was never just about exploitation in factories, it was about the risk of forgetting that we are more than workers. We are thinkers, dreamers, lovers, creators. If work does not serve life, then perhaps it is life that should reclaim its throne. So why do we work so much? Perhaps because the system was built to keep us working. Perhaps because we have been taught to measure our worth in hours and output. Or perhaps because we fear what we might find if we stopped, the silence, the questions, the possibility of freedom. Yet in that silence lies the chance for something greater, to remember that work is not the purpose of life but only a part of it. The rest is waiting, if we dare to reclaim it. As the old saying goes, no man ever said on his deathbed, "I wish I had spent more time at the office." Maybe it's time to take that seriously. Maybe it's time to stop working so much and start living again. If thought-provoking ideas excite you, make sure to subscribe for more.